Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, Functional Medicine Center, and welcome. Thank you for joining in. So excited to go over some research and some information that I was reading about today. For those of you that are new to our page, welcome. Go ahead and follow or like our page, and we go out at least every day or two, give tons of information, all types of stats, research, recipes, lots of different things. For those of you that are new to functional medicine is really about getting to the underlying why of what's going on with somebody. We work with people with diabetes, gut issues, brain issues, thyroid, all types of different things. We have our Functional Medicine Center in Fort Collins and our Functional Medicine Center in Arizona. So welcome everybody. I posted down below a link to an article, and this was on MSN, and it was about this doctor at the University of Oxford over in England, and Dr. Gupta. She's been talking about coronavirus, COVID, all these things since way back in December, way back before all this went mainstream and everything. And what she's been talking about this whole time is the immune system, and really things to help the immune system and what actually can hurt the immune system. So what I'm going to go over today is something that we really should have been thinking about this whole time, is what are the consequences of social distancing, of lockdown, of everybody staying in their own corners basically, or even with our kids, keeping our kids home for this extended period of time. What does that actually do to the immune system? So I'm going to go over it. If you don't have time to watch, go ahead and just click on that and you can read through pretty quick, but I'm going to try to summarize what she was saying. So basically, if people are not exposed to germs, so we have germs everywhere. Viruses are everywhere. We have viruses on our skin, up in the ceiling, in our floor, all types of different things. Hey Taylor, how you doing? Doris, good to see you as well. So we have viruses everywhere, we have bacteria everywhere, all of these things. We're exposed to germs all the time. It's not just when somebody sneezes on your face and it goes up into your nose or whatever. That's not the only time you're going to get a virus. We get viruses all the time. You hear stories of people that haven't left their house and they still get COVID. How does that happen? Well, they're everywhere. Viruses are everywhere. And so that's actually the good part too, because our body responds to these viruses. Our immune system is this ebbing and flowing, constantly changing thing that is always looking to attack something, but then pull itself back, attack and pull itself back. And the more it can do that, the better shape that it's like a boxer that can go, only 2 rounds at first, but when he gets in better shape, can go 9 rounds or 10 rounds or 11 rounds and can do the entire fight because he has built up his strength and stamina and everything. And so that's what our immune system needs to do. That's what our immune system needs to be able to handle anything thrown at us. Hey Michelle, good to see you out there. So what happens? Well, when we're not exposed to the viruses, when we're not exposed to bacteria, when we hide out in our house and all these things, what happens is our immune system stops fighting, stops getting in shape. So just like some of you during the shutdown, what happened to your fitness level, right? Probably went down because you weren't going to the gym, you weren't going to these places that needed you needed to go to be able to be in a better health status and better fitness levels. So think of your immune system as this fitness level that if it is depleted, if you're not using it all the time, it's not going to have the stamina to go out and do it. So if you're not exposing yourself to germs and viruses and bacteria, and that's the problem with people that hose down everything. Even before the whole COVID thing, people would hose down all their surfaces, everything, and those are actually the kids that have more asthma, allergies, seasonal allergies, all these type of things. They have more problems because they're just cleaning everything down, wiping off all the germs, and those poor little immune systems aren't being able to deal with it. One of my friends, Dr. Josh Axe, he wrote a book called Eat Dirt. And eat dirt, why? Well, because there's germs, there's bacteria, there's microbiome, all these things. And obviously you don't go out and eat dirt, but playing in the dirt, playing in the soil, digging in your garden, all those things are very, very crucial. So Dr. Gupta was talking about not being exposed to the germs could inhibit the growth and the proliferation of our immune system. And without exposures, this is one of the things that probably led to the Spanish flu in 1918, is because for 30 years, the research shows they didn't have a flu in Europe. And so nobody was getting exposed to these. And this is the big part too, and why 40 to 60% of the people out there will never get COVID-19. Why? Because they have T cells, and they have T cells from other coronaviruses, and their body's going to be able to fight off this COVID and not even have to deal with it. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. Yep, farm kids, best immune system. Vast majority of the time, they're out there, they're playing with the animals, digging in the dirt, doing all those things. You got to get your hands dirty. So in the Spanish flu, they hadn't been exposed to flu for all these years. So remember, 40 to 60% of the people, this is based on latest research. I've done a couple videos ago, I was talking about this, and 40 to 60% of the people in the United States will never get COVID-19 because they've already been exposed to enough coronaviruses that look similar, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to be able to get our immune systems working, seeing things, being able to jump in and attack and destroy and do all of that at the right times. Hey, Janet, ranch kids there too. Heck yeah. Got to get out, got to get, we have tons, probably 60% of our patients come from Nebraska, Wyoming, Kansas, South Dakota, all over the place. So we see that all the time. And it really does jumpstart that immune system. So how do we deal with a virus? It all depends on our previous exposures. And so if we haven't ever been exposed, if you've lived in a bubble your whole life and they throw a virus at you, guess what happens? Your immune system's not going to be able to deal with it. Think about this. The European settlers, we always think about Thanksgiving, you're like, oh, it's so sweet the Native Americans came out and offered some of their stuff to the settlers, and guess what? They made it through the winter and all that. But actually what happened was a lot of the European settlers brought viruses, brought bacteria, all types of different diseases that the immune systems had never seen on these Native Americans, and guess what? They all died. I mean, the vast majority, like 90% of some of these native cultures died. You know, it's sad. And yet, what did the European settlers do? They actually would take over their little villages or whatever that they had built up. You know, so crazy that a big part of the European settlers making it was because they brought with them kind of this viral bacterial death that the immune system had never seen. So pretty interesting, and that's what we have to worry about when we think about, oh, let's isolate, let's lock down, let's social distance, let's keep everybody at bay. That is not necessarily the best thing, and Dr. Gupta at the University of Oxford has been saying that this whole time. So again, those T cells are going to be what the body has developed to other coronaviruses that look similar enough to this COVID-19. She also says that international travel is actually one of the best things that we can do, and to keep our immune system going is to have exposures all over the world and our bodies be able to handle a lot of these things. And she said the exposures from this international travel outweigh the potential of, oh geez, we're going to spread something here or there, but it's actually really constructive for our immune system to be exposed to different germs, and for somebody from New York City to go to LA and bring different germs and be able to experience those, and they're going to create a lot more health and a lot more immune response that way. So what I've been worried about this whole time, hey Dolly, good to see you out there in Arizona. Hope things are well. Probably a little bit hot. If we're 97 here in Colorado, I'm sure you're pretty hot there in Arizona. So get this. In Colorado, our kids probably are not going to go back to school. The majority of kids are not going to go back to school until maybe in the January, in the second semester. They're saying October, but I really would be surprised if that happens. Kids are going to start getting colds, flus, all these things at that time. That's flu season. And if somebody's sneezing, coughing, all that, they're not going to know, do they have COVID? Do they have the flu, cold, whatever it is? So what are they going to do? Everybody's going to freak out. They're probably going to shut down school, all those things. So I would be shocked if if we didn't see kids out of school until at least January, if not later. Think about this though. Those kids, maybe they've been exposed at a camp, maybe they've been around some friends, some different things, but very few exposures to outside germs. Since when? Way back in March. So what's going to happen? And this will be tough because these kids are going to come back in. They're going to be exposed even if they're wearing masks, even if they have sneeze guards, all these things. They're still going to get exposed. And then what? And then they're going to even get sicker than they would have. They're going to have flu. They're going to have cold. All these other issues. Probably not even have to deal with COVID, but there'll be other coronaviruses. That's part of the seasonal cold every year is different coronaviruses. So that's my big concern is when these kids go back, their immune systems are going to be shot. They are not going to be worth much because they haven't been around other kids. They haven't been building up that immune system. Most probably haven't been playing in the dirt like some of you guys were talking about. So hope this gives you guys some ideas on the immune system is crucial. The immune system needs to be strengthened and fortified and built up. And the only way we can do that is exposure to germs. You can't do that just with a supplement. You can't do that just, and I was at the library yesterday, and outside the sign said, "Thank you for keeping our community healthy." And think about this. They said, social distancing, wearing a mask, cleaning, washing your hands, da 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 da. And the thought, I was like, oh my gosh, that has nothing to do with health. Those do not keep people healthy. That is not health. That is keeping people, again, germs away from people, but it does nothing to keep people healthy. Hey Tina, do the masks really help? It depends on the type of mask, and we've talked about this in the past. Most masks do not. I've got a buff that counts right now, and I held it up to my son and I said, what do you feel? And he felt all the air coming straight through it. People that just wear bandanas, things like that, there's just as much airflow coming in. Most masks do not help. The research has shown that maybe the surgical masks are a little bit better, maybe the N95 are a little bit better, but for the most part, unfortunately, they are not keeping people healthy. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it right, and they're going to wear it too long. It's going to get moist. You're actually going to recirculate those germs back up into the sinuses. A lot more people are getting sinus infections, but if you do have to wear a mask every day, you've got to change it at least 2 or 3 times a day, and you've got to get rid of that mask or wash it every single night, because I have patients, they say their mask is soggy by the end of the day, and that is just gross for one thing, but it's also very germy. Washing hands is still a good idea, don't you think? I thought washing hands was a good idea before COVID-19, and I think washing hands is still a good idea after COVID-19. Yes, absolutely, we need to wash our hands. My wife would always, years ago, even when the kids were super little, she'd have little spray bottles of essential oil and different things, and we'd come out of the grocery store and she'd rinse everybody's hands down. And that's just good hygiene. That's one of the reasons why we've defeated a lot of different diseases in this country, because we do have hygiene and we do have good things like that. So again, you've got to challenge your immune system. You can't just sit in a bubble for the rest of your life and hope that we get a vaccine and that's going to fix everything. Hopefully a vaccine is available, and some people are able to use it if they would like to. Again, health freedom, we want to make sure that everybody has that choice or doesn't have that choice to do it or not do it. So we've got to look down that path of, okay, we can't just rely on something outside of us that's going to make us healthy or going to help our immune system. You've got to do those things yourself. So make sure your immune system is working well, but also make sure you are having some exposures and you're not just socially isolating. And read the article from Dr. Gupta as well. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and throw those down below there. Share this with anybody you know that's worried about social distancing, worried about masks, worried about lockdowns, or should their kids go to school, should they not? We've got to have these exposures. We've got to have germs be able to build up that immune system. So everybody, make it a great day. Great to talk to you, and remember, stay strong. And in our family, we always say faith over fear. So take care, everybody.